They say beauty is a blessing. They lied. I learned this truth on a Tuesday evening when my reflection smiled at me, and I wasn't smiling back. My name is Chidera Okonkwo, and for 26 years, I wore my beauty like armor. Men stumbled over their words when I entered a room. Women either befriended me hoping my radiance would rub off on them, or hated me for the same reason. Magazine covers, brand ambassadorships, a modeling contract that paid more in 6 months than most people earned in 5 years. I had built an empire on flawless skin, high cheekbones, and eyes that photographers called dangerously beautiful. But empires built on sand eventually crumble. Please make sure like, subscribe and comment. The mirror in my Lekki penthouse was an antique, ornate gold frame, beveled edges, allegedly once owned by a Portuguese duchess. I bought it at an estate sale because it made me feel regal. I would stand before it each morning and evening, admiring the masterpiece that was me, rehearsing the smile that had launched 1,000 campaigns. Until the night it stopped showing me what I wanted to see. Until the night it showed me the truth. And the truth, I discovered, was hunting me. The champagne was still fizzing in my veins when I got home from the launch party. Another successful campaign, this time for an international luxury skincare brand. They'd flown in from Paris specifically to sign me. The contract sat in my Hermes bag. 3 years, 8 figures, my face on billboards from Lagos to London. I kicked off my Louboutins and padded across the marble floor to my bedroom, humming the Afrobeat song that had been playing at the party. The city lights of Lagos glittered through my floor-to-ceiling windows like scattered diamonds. Everything was perfect. Everything was exactly as it should be. I stopped before the mirror, as I always did, ready to remove my makeup and admire how even without it, I was breathtaking. But when I looked up, my breath caught in my throat. The woman in the mirror was crying. I wasn't. My hand flew to my face, dry. Not a tear. But the reflection's face was streaked with mascara, her eyes swollen and red, her lips trembling. I stepped closer, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. What? The reflection's mouth didn't move when I spoke. Instead, she raised one finger and pressed it against the glass from her side. Where her finger touched, the mirror rippled like water. Then, in the condensation-like fog that appeared, words formed. Help me. I stumbled backward, my hips slamming into my dresser. The Cartier perfume bottles rattled. This wasn't possible. This wasn't real. I'd had 2 glasses of champagne, maybe 3, but I wasn't drunk. I'd never been drunk a day in my life. Control was everything. When I looked again, the reflection was normal. Me. Just me. Perfect makeup, perfect hair, perfect everything. But my hands were shaking. I grabbed my phone and called the one person who would answer at 11 p.m. without questions. Zainab, something just happened. Kai, you sound terrified. What's wrong? Zainab had been my best friend since secondary school, back when I was just another girl with big dreams and no idea how to achieve them. She'd stuck by me through everything, the sudden rise to fame, the tabloid scandals, the ex-boyfriend who sold lies about me to blogs. She was real in a world of pretenders. I think I'm losing my mind, I whispered, staring at the mirror. My reflection stared back, perfectly normal, perfectly mimicking my every move. The mirror. I saw something in the mirror. Okay, slow down. What did you see? How could I explain? My reflection was crying. And I wasn't. And then, it wrote something. It asked for help. Silence on the other end. Then, Kai, when's the last time you slept? Really slept? I sleep. 4 hours doesn't count. You've been working non-stop for 3 months. Fashion week, then the campaign shoots, then tonight's launch. Your body is exhausted. Your mind is playing tricks. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly. Maybe you're right. I am right. Take a sleeping pill. Get some real rest. And call me in the morning. After we hung up, I stood in my bathroom for 20 minutes, washing my face with cold water, avoiding my reflection. When I finally forced myself to look, everything was normal. Just tired eyes, bare skin that was still somehow flawless, and the faint lines of stress I usually concealed with makeup. I was being ridiculous. But that night, I slept with the lights on. The next morning, I woke to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. My publicist, call me now. My manager, we have a situation. My mother, Chidera, what have you done? With trembling fingers, I opened Instagram. My verified account with 2.3 million followers had posted something at 3:47 a.m. while I was asleep. A video. Of me. Except it wasn't me. The woman in the video looked exactly like me. Same face, same bedroom, same antique mirror in the background. But her eyes were hollow, desperate. Her voice cracked as she spoke directly to the camera. My name is Adiz. For 3 years, I have been trapped. She stole my face. She stole my life. And if you're seeing this, it means I've finally found a way to reach you. Chidera Okonkwo is not who you think she is. Everything you admire about her, everything you envy, was taken from me. And she's coming for others. Stop her before. The video cut off. Within an hour, it had been viewed 800,000 times. My phone rang, my publicist, Folake, her voice sharp with panic. Chidera, what the hell is this? Did someone hack your account? Please tell me someone hacked your account. I don't know. I was pacing, my bare feet cold against the marble. I was asleep. I didn't post that. Well, someone did. And now we're trending for all the wrong reasons. The conspiracy theorists are having a field day. The brand partners are asking questions. We need to release a statement immediately. Say you were hacked. Your security is investigating. But what if, I stopped myself. What if what? What if it was real? What if the woman in the mirror, the crying reflection, was this Adiz? What if everything Zainab said about exhaustion and stress was wrong? Nothing, I said. Send out the statement. But I knew I had to find out the truth. I hired a private investigator that afternoon. His name was Emeka Nwosu, a former police detective who now specialized in delicate matters for Lagos's elite. We met at a cafe in Victoria Island, far from prying eyes and cameras. I need you to find someone, I said, sliding a folder across the table. I'd screenshot every frame of the video, printed them. Her name is supposedly Adiz. She claims I stole her face. Emeka studied the photos with professional detachment. These are photos of you. That's what makes this complicated. He looked up, his dark eyes sharp and assessing. Miss Okonkwo, in my experience, there are 3 explanations for something like this. 1. Elaborate hoax. Someone deepfaked this video to extort you or damage your reputation. 2. You have a twin you don't know about. 3. He paused. 3 is harder to believe. Tell me anyway. There are stories, old stories, about people who make deals for beauty, for success, and the price. He shook his head. But that's superstition. Folktales. My blood ran cold. What kind of deals? The kind where someone else pays the price while you reap the benefits. But like I said, superstition. I'll start with the logical explanations first. Give me 3 days. Those 3 days were hell. The video went viral. #WhoIsADees was trending worldwide. Internet sleuths were dissecting my entire life, every photo, every interview, looking for clues. Some believed it was a publicity stunt. Others insisted I was part of some sinister conspiracy. The hate messages flooded in, but worse were the ones from people who claimed to believe Adees, who called me a thief, a monster. My brand partnerships didn't cancel. Not yet. But I could feel them watching, waiting. And every time I passed a mirror, I held my breath. On the 3rd night, the mirror spoke again. I was brushing my teeth, determinedly not looking at my reflection, when I heard it. A whisper, soft as silk, deadly as poison. Chitterer. My name. The toothbrush clattered into the sink. Slowly, so slowly, I raised my eyes. She was there. Adees. Not mimicking me this time. Just standing in the mirror as if it were a window between worlds. Her face was my face, but gaunt, exhausted. Her eyes held an ocean of suffering. What do you want? I whispered. I want my life back. Her voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. 3 years ago, you went to see Mama Calabar. You were desperate. Your modeling career was failing. You'd been rejected 37 times that month alone. And she offered you a solution. My knees weakened. Mama Calabar. I had tried to forget that name. Bury it in the deepest corner of my mind. She showed you the mirror, Adees continued. She said it would make you irresistible, that you'd have everything you ever wanted. But she didn't tell you the price. She didn't tell you that for every moment you spent in the spotlight, I would spend in darkness. Trapped. Screaming. While you wore my beauty like a stolen coat. That's not. But the protest died in my throat. Because it was true. All of it. 3 years ago, I had been desperate. Broke. About to be evicted from my shared apartment in Sorulere. The modeling agencies said I was pretty but not special. That I lacked that indefinable quality that separated the successful from the struggling. Then my roommate told me about Mama Calabar, a woman in Oja who could help with matters of destiny. I'd laughed at first. I didn't believe in such things. But desperation makes believers of us all. Mama Calabar's house was small, unremarkable, but inside was that mirror. The same one now hanging in my bedroom. Look into it, she'd said. Tell me what you see. I'd seen myself, but better. Radiant. Glowing. The most beautiful version of myself that could exist. That could be you, Mama Calabar had whispered. For a price. Money? I don't have. Not money. A different price. One you won't even notice paying. I should have walked away. But I was so tired of struggling, of being overlooked, of watching girls with less talent and more connections get the life I dreamed of. I said yes. I said yes, and I never asked what the price was. Now, staring at Adi's anguished face, I understood. I had paid nothing. She had paid everything. How do I fix this? I asked, tears finally breaking free. Tell me how to fix this. Break the mirror, she said. Before the new moon. That's when the binding becomes permanent. For more days, Chidera. Break the mirror, face the consequences, and I can be free. Or keep your stolen beauty and damn us both forever. The reflection rippled and vanished. I stood alone in my bathroom, staring at my perfect face, a face I now knew wasn't truly mine, and felt my entire world cracking apart. Emeka called the next morning with news that made my blood freeze. I found her, he said. Adiz Okafor, 29 years old. She was a model, moderately successful about 4 years ago. Then she disappeared. Filed a missing persons report 3 years ago, but the investigation went nowhere. No body, no evidence of foul play, no leads. Eventually, her family assumed she'd run off or, well, the worst. Is her family still? Her mother is alive. Lives in Enugu. I can arrange a meeting if you want. I did. And I didn't. But I had to. 2 days later, I stood outside a modest bungalow in Enugu, my baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses hiding my face. Emeka waited in the car while I knocked. The woman who answered had Adi's eyes. Or rather, she had the eyes that should have been Adi's, that I now wore. Can I help you? Mrs. Okafor asked, polite but wary. My name is. I removed my sunglasses. I think I need to talk to you about your daughter. Her face went pale. Are you? You're the woman from the video. Chidera Okonkwo. Please. I think I know what happened to Adiz. She should have slammed the door in my face. Instead, she invited me in. The house was a shrine to Adiz. Photos everywhere. Adiz at her first modeling gig. Adiz with her mother. Adiz laughing, living, being. And in every photo, I saw my own face staring back. You look so much like her, Mrs. Okafor whispered, setting down tea I knew I couldn't drink. When I saw your face on billboards, I thought I was going mad. But it's not exact. Something is different in the eyes. Mrs. Okafor, did Adiz ever mention Mama Calabar? The teacup trembled in her hands. How do you know that name? Because I went to her too. 3 years ago. And I think whatever happened to Adiz, I'm responsible. The story poured out of me. The mirror, the deal, the reflection, everything. With each word, Mrs. Okafor's face grew harder, older. When I finished, she stood and walked to a cabinet. She returned with a journal, Adi's journal. She wrote about the mirror too, Mrs. Okafor said, opening to a page dated 4 years ago. She'd been struggling, just like you said you were. Someone told her about Mama Calabar. She wrote about seeing a beautiful version of herself in the mirror, about making a wish to be noticed, to be special. Her finger traced the handwriting. And then, 3 weeks later, her last entry, something is wrong. I feel like I'm fading. When I look in the mirror, I see someone else living my life. Mama Calabar won't return my calls. I'm scared. After that, I whispered. After that, she disappeared. We never saw her again. The room spun. Adiz hadn't stolen my beauty. I had stolen hers. Mama Calabar had taken Adiz's essence, her beauty, her life force, and transferred it to me. And Adiz had been trapped in the mirror ever since, watching me live the life that should have been hers. What do you want from me? Mrs. Okafor asked, and there was no kindness in her voice now. Forgiveness? I can't give you that. I want to free her. The mirror, breaking it is supposed to release her. But I don't know what happens to me when it breaks. And you're afraid. Terrified, I admitted. Everything I have, everything I am, it all came from that mirror. If I break it, I lose everything. My career, my face, maybe my life. But if I don't? I looked at the photos of Adiz. I'm stealing someone's soul. Mrs. Okafor stood and walked to the window, her back to me. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, my daughter was kind. She was beautiful on the inside, which made her beautiful on the outside. If she could speak to you now, she would probably tell you she forgave you. That you didn't know. She turned to face me, tears streaming down her face. But I am not my daughter. You have one chance to make this right. Chidera Okonkwo. Break the mirror. Face whatever comes. Or live the rest of your life knowing you're wearing my daughter's stolen skin. I had 2 days until the new moon. 2 days to decide if I was brave enough to give up everything. The brand started pulling out. The video, the rumors, the conspiracy theories, it was too much. My face was still everywhere, but now it represented something sinister, something wrong. The court of public opinion had rendered its verdict, guilty. Zainab came to stay with me. She sat on my couch, staring at the mirror I'd covered with a bedsheet, and said, "So it's all real. Everything. Everything. And you're actually considering breaking it? Kai, you could lose everything. Your face, your career. You could become nobody again." I already am nobody, I said quietly. This person everyone sees? She's not real. She's Adiz. I've been wearing her life like a costume, and she's been in agony because of me. You didn't know. But now I do. And I have to choose who I want to be. The woman who got everything by stealing, or the woman who does the right thing, even when it costs her everything. Zainab was quiet for a long time. Then she took my hand. Whatever happens when you break it, I'm here. Even if you lose that face, you'll still be my sister. You understand? I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked through my penthouse, looking at everything I'd acquired, the designer clothes, the expensive furniture, the awards and magazine covers. All of it bought with a stolen face. At 2 a.m., I pulled the sheet off the mirror. Adiz was waiting, but she wasn't alone. Behind her, I could see other faces. Women. Dozens of them. All beautiful, all trapped, all screaming silently. How many? I whispered. I was the first, Adiz said. But Mama Calabar has been doing this for decades. Every time someone breaks, she finds another desperate woman to take her place. Another victim, another thief. The cycle continues. Unless you break it. If I break the mirror, what happens to them? They go free. All of us. But Mama Calabar will come for you. She doesn't like losing her investments. I laughed bitterly. Let her come. I called Emeka. I need you to do something for me. Tomorrow night, bring the police to Mama Calabar's house in Oja. I don't care what excuse you use. Just get them there at midnight. What are you planning? To end this. All of it. The next day, the day of the new moon, I did something I never thought I'd do. I held a press conference. The cameras were hungry, eager to see if I'd crack, if the perfect Chidera Okonkwo would finally break. My publicist begged me not to do it, but I insisted. I stood before the microphones, no makeup, hair pulled back, wearing simple jeans and a white shirt. I looked tired. I looked human. My name is Chidera Okonkwo, I began. And I need to tell you the truth about where my beauty came from. I told them everything. The desperation, Mama Calabar, the mirror, Adiz. I told them about the other women trapped in the glass. I told them about the deal I'd made in ignorance and the price someone else had paid. The room was dead silent. Tonight, I'm going to break the mirror, I said. I don't know what happens to me after. Maybe I lose everything. Maybe I become ordinary, unremarkable. Maybe I disappear entirely, but I can't keep living a lie built on someone else's suffering. Are you saying you believe in magic? A reporter called out. That you literally stole someone's face? I'm saying that desperate people do desperate things, and that there are predators out there who take advantage of that desperation. Whether you call it magic or manipulation or something else, the result is the same. People get hurt. And I'm done being part of that hurt. The press conference exploded into chaos, but I walked away. I had said what I needed to say. At 11:30 p.m., I stood before the mirror one last time. Zainab stood beside me, holding my hand. In my other hand, I held a hammer. Are you ready? Zainab asked. I looked at my reflection, Adiz's face, Adiz's beauty, Adiz's life. Then I looked deeper, past the surface, and saw the real me. The girl who loved art and poetry, who laughed too loud, who was imperfect and human and real. I'm ready. I raised the hammer. Thank you, Adiz whispered. Thank you for seeing me. I brought the hammer down. The mirror exploded. Glass flew everywhere, but none of it touched us. It hung suspended in the air like frozen raindrops. Each shard reflected a face, a woman, a stolen life. And then, like birds released from cages, they vanished. Light poured from the broken frame, brilliant, blinding, beautiful. It wrapped around me like a cocoon, and I felt something shift inside me, something essential, fundamental. When the light faded, I ran to the bathroom mirror. My face had changed. I was still recognizable, still me, but different. My eyes were slightly smaller. My nose had a bump I'd never noticed before. My cheekbones were less sharp. I was attractive, but in an ordinary way. The kind of face you might pass on the street without turning your head. I was just a woman, and I had never felt more beautiful. Kai. Zainab's voice was awed. You're glowing. Like, actually glowing. I touched my face, feeling the truth of it under my fingers. This was mine. Really mine. Not stolen, not borrowed, not traded for someone else's soul. Mine. My phone rang. Emeka. The police are at the house. They've arrested her. They found. God, Kai, they found rooms full of mirrors. And photos. Dozens of missing women. all over Nigeria. You were right. I closed my eyes. And the women? The ones in the mirrors? I don't know how to explain this, but several women have been calling police stations across the country tonight. Women who've been missing for years. They're confused, disoriented, but they're alive. They're free. I hung up and looked at Zainab. She was crying. So was I. You did it, she whispered. You actually did it. 6 months later, I stood in a small art gallery in Lagos, surrounded by my paintings. I'd discovered, in the aftermath of breaking the mirror, that I had a talent I'd never explored. Without modeling, without the endless campaign shoots and brand partnerships, I'd picked up a brush for the first time since secondary school. And I was good. Not perfect. Not extraordinary. But good enough to have a small showing, to sell a few pieces, to make enough to pay rent on a modest flat in Yaba. The gallery was modest, filled with people who came for the art, not for my face. Some of them had seen the press conference, had followed the story of Mama Calabar's arrest and the missing women who'd mysteriously reappeared. But they didn't treat me like a celebrity or a cautionary tale. They treated me like an artist. Adiz came to the opening. The real Adiz, freed from the mirror, slowly rebuilding her life with her mother's help. We'd met several times since that night, awkward at first, then easier. We would never be friends. Not really. The wound was too deep. But we were healing. Your work is beautiful, she said, studying a painting of a broken mirror with light streaming through the cracks. Thank you. How are you doing? Better. I got a job teaching at a modeling academy, helping young girls understand the industry, warning them about people like Mama Calabar. She smiled. It was sad, but real. Turns out I have a gift for it. I'm glad. We stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then she said, You know, I hated you. For months after I was freed, I hated you with everything in me. I know. I would have hated me too. But then I realized something. You gave up everything to free me. Your face, your career, your entire life. You didn't have to. You could have kept it all. And that. She paused. That takes a different kind of beauty. The kind that actually matters. After she left, I stood alone in the gallery, looking at my paintings, at the life I'd built from the ruins of my stolen one. I thought about beauty, what it means, what it costs, what it's worth. For years, I'd believed beauty was power. That it was armor and weapon, shield and sword. I'd thought that being beautiful meant being valued, being loved, being seen. But I'd been wrong. Real beauty isn't what people see when they look at you. It's what you see when you look at yourself. It's the courage to face your mistakes, the strength to make them right, the grace to forgive yourself and ask for forgiveness. It's choosing truth over comfort, integrity over image, freedom over fear. My phone buzzed, a text from Zainab, saw the gallery write-up. They called you an emerging artist with a powerful voice. I'm so proud of you, Kai. I smiled and typed back, Thank you for seeing me. Always. As I locked up the gallery that night, I caught my reflection in the window. An ordinary face. A real face. Mine. And for the first time in my life, I looked at myself and thought, beautiful. Not because of what others saw, but because of what I knew. I was free. And that was the most beautiful thing of all.